This all unfolded in district court today with prosecutors and defense attorneys presenting a surprise plea deal that would have locked Kelly up for nearly 50 years. News 13's Chris McKee was in the courtroom. He's live at district court with why the judge rejected it. Chris?
Jessica, the judge essentially decided that Kelly was pleading to charges that didn't match what she says happened to Victoria Martens the night that she was killed.
Walking into district court Friday, Jessica Kelly was prepared to accept nearly 50 years in prison for her role in the 2016 murder of 10-year-old Victoria Martens.
All right, please.
But it was Judge Charles Brown who called the deal off based on what Kelly told the court about the night Victoria was killed.
Did you have any indication or idea that something was going to happen?
No, not until after it happened.
I can't accept a guilty plea as to count one.
Count one that Judge Brown rejected was aggravated child abuse resulting in death, one of 6 charges Kelly was pleading to. Prosecutors and defense attorneys now agree on one story, that Kelly and Victoria Martens were at the girl's apartment one night 2 years ago.
Were you caring for Victoria?
Yes.
Kelly says she was hallucinating on meth, but put Victoria to bed alive. At some point, Kelly says an unknown man came into the apartment and asked for her cousin, Fabian Gonzalez, by his nickname.
He asked for Fable.
Kelly claims she told that unknown man it was only her and Victoria at home, and that man went to Victoria's room and killed her. Prosecutors argue Kelly put Victoria in danger by letting that man go to Victoria's room. Prosecutors also claim Kelly knew people wanted to hurt Fabian Gonzalez or people around him over a fight involving drugs.
She knew or should have known of the substantial and foreseeable risk that this individual posed to Victoria Martens.
That flies in the face of all reason and common sense. You're asking that Ms. Kelly be somehow a mind reader.
The judge questioned Kelly directly about what she thought that unknown man would do.
You know, I did not feel that there was a threat at the time until after the threat he made when he left.
With that,
Before we adjourn,
the judge rejected the deal, saying Kelly's admission doesn't match a child abuse resulting in death charge.
Kelly was taken back to jail tonight, and at this point she still faces all of the original charges, with her trial stated to begin in January. Jessica?
All right, thank you, Chris. District Attorney Raul Torres says state prosecutors, as well as Jessica Kelly's defense attorney, never saw this coming. Shortly after the judge's decision, Torres explained what his office plans to do next. News 13's Marissa Luceto continues our team coverage and is live downtown with his reaction. Marissa?
Jess, the DA says the decision to enter into a plea agreement with Jessica Kelly was not an easy one, but it was essential. And now his office is back to the drawing board.
We didn't anticipate this.
Shortly after the DA's proposed plea agreement with Jessica Kelly was shot down by Judge Charles Brown,
It was my intention to come before you today to announce that Jessica Kelly had accepted a plea agreement.
District Attorney Raul Torres told reporters it was a rare move for a district court judge to deny a plea deal both the state and defense had worked out.
We were somewhat surprised by the court's rejection.
Kelly was supposed to plead guilty to 6 charges, including child abuse resulting in death, for her role in Victoria Martens' murder.
It was something that I struggled with. It was something that our team gave a lot of thought and consideration to.
Today in court, the judge denied the defense the opportunity to read a prepared statement. Instead, he asked Kelly to explain in her words what happened the night Victoria was murdered.
I didn't really think that there was something bad going to happen the way it did.
That's when Judge Brown told prosecutors he felt Kelly's testimony didn't add up with the charges she was pleading guilty to.
She signed the plea agreement. She was well aware and advised by her counsel with regard to what those charges were.
This plea deal would have also required Kelly to testify against her cousin, Fabian Gonzalez, and that's why the DA says they need her cooperation moving forward and hopes that wasn't jeopardized today.
We will be, again, looking at the record, trying to determine what steps, if any, we can take. because we still believe that this agreement is in the best interest of justice.
And after today's ruling, the DA's office is now looking at all viable options. One of those includes filing a motion to reconsider. Again, that would go up in front of Judge Charles Brown. Back to you, Jess.
All right, thank you, Marissa. Today, the DA's office released a formal new narrative giving a new version of what happened. Prosecutors describe how Kelly feared someone was driving by the apartment looking for Gonzalez that night before the unidentified man came upstairs and strangled Victoria, then threatened Kelly and her kids if she and Gonzalez didn't clean up the crime scene. It describes Gonzalez and Martens going on a meth spree before arriving home, and then Kelly and Gonzalez distracting Martens so she didn't know her daughter was dead, having her cook dinner and then putting her to bed so they could dismember and dispose the body.
As everyone's aware, Fabian Gonzalez's trial is in next month, and so we are still preparing for that. Without Jessica Kelly, that trial becomes far more complicated and far more difficult.
Fabian Gonzalez is slated to go on trial on October 15th. Prosecutors dropped the rape and murder charges against him, but he's still charged with child abuse resulting in death for leaving Victoria with his cousin Kelly, a convicted rapist and drug dealer. Gonzalez claims he shouldn't be charged because he's not Victoria's guardian. But prosecutors point out that Gonzalez cooked for her, called her Mija, even bought her a kitten. Michelle Martens has already pled to lesser child abuse charges in the death and is awaiting sentencing.